and gentlemen, and welcome back to the ESL Hearthstone Legendary Series. My name is TJ Osmo Cutie Sanders, and once again, for day number 2, I am joined with Tempo Storm's very own Hyped. Say your own name this time.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Ready to get into these games?
Me too. We have the playoff stage today. Yesterday we did see Group A and Group B battle it out. We had 6 players coming from our Challenger Cup, 2 invited players, StrifeCo and LifeCoach, and they battled out in their GSL-style group stage yesterday. We're going to start off with the elimination matches today, but a little bit of a review of the format of the Legendary Series. Every 2 weeks we have a Challenger Cup. The top 6 players from the Challenger Cup play the following week in a Legendary Series match day. They will be joined by 2 invited players, and those 8 players battle it out in 2 groups, GSL-style groups, and fight for $3,000 worth of prize money, and $1,500 goes to the winner. Now, along with that $1,500, the winner of every week gets automatically invited to our $25,000 land final in June. So lots of stakes on the line. As well as that, for placing high in those Challenger Cups, we are offering Blizzard World Championship points. And of course, since we're doing that, we are going with the standardized format of Conquest for Season 2 of the Legendary Series. So, George, why don't you give us a quick rundown of the Conquest format and maybe some of its pros and cons?
Yeah, Conquest is the new official Blizzard BlizzCon format that's going to be used, and the way it works is each player, in this case a best of 5, has to bring 3 unique decks, and they can only win, or they have to win with each of those decks. So they can only win once with each deck. Once they win with the deck, they have to switch to their next deck and collect wins with the rest of their decks. And then the loser, if they lose with the deck, they can play it again, or they can switch, whatever they want, but they also have to get 3 wins with each deck.
Yeah, so the first match is blind pick, of course, and it adds a little bit of versatility to some of these lineups. Since you have to win with all 3 of your decks, it makes it so you can't just 3-0 with one deck. You can't just like 3-0 with Zoo, 3-0 with Hunter, something like that. So you see a wide variety of games. You won't just see the same matchup over and over again, and that makes it for a really good spectating experience, at least.
Yeah, you don't have that weird counter deck experience where someone brought like this one deck that's just going to beat this other deck no matter what, and that's the only reason they brought it. Yeah,
you have to bring solid decks and make good meta reads, so it's a pretty good format. And of course, with the Legendary Series Season 2, we do have a lineup of sponsors that are on board with us. We'd like to give a big shout out to Plantronics as well as Gigabyte for joining us for Season 2 of the Legendary Series. We have lots of prizes, lots of giveaways, and of course that LAN Finals in June, and none of that would be possible without our sponsors. So if you guys want to support esports, support us here at ESL in what we do with the Legendary Series. Make sure you head to those links that you just saw on your screen and maybe check out some of those products. And of course, we'd like to know what you think about the Legendary Series. So hit us up on Twitter, on that social media with the hashtag HLS, or you can tweet us at ESL Hearthstone. We'll be reading those tweets periodically throughout the day. You can tweet at me at AsmoCutie or at Tempo Hyped as well. And we'll see what you think. And of course, we are also doing some giveaways today. So if you go ahead and check out esl.gg/legendary giveaway, we will be giving away some packs, I believe, as well as some of the Plantronics rig headsets. I believe you can see right behind us our lovely bear there is wearing one of those Plantronics headsets. So lots of great stuff to give away for the day. And I believe we'll go into the groups here. We actually have the elimination matches, which are going to take place first off today, and then we're going to go straight into the playoff stage. So why don't you give us a rundown of what we saw yesterday from Group A? From
Group A, unfortunately, we saw Limijux get eliminated, but we saw Koroneko, the newcomer from Japan, place first in his group. So he gets to advance straight to, he only has to win 2 today, but Gcttirth and LifeCoach are going to have to play one more game before they're on the same level as Koroneko.
Yeah, and of course, in Group B, Azuzu had a really impressive performance. He went 2-0 in his group for the automatic seed to the semifinals today. Bub Senpai, even though it was a well-fought battle, he was eliminated, and Kaldi and StrifeCo will have to battle it out in their elimination matches today to try and make it to that semifinals. And of course, there's the semifinal and on bracket. So our first match is going to be Kaldi versus Gcttirth. The winner of that will play Koroneko in the semifinals. And then the second match of the day will be StrifeCo versus LifeCoach. And that match, the winner will go on to face Azuzu for the second semifinal. So a lot of really great games today. And it's really cool to see that StrifeCro and Life Coach, who are two of I think right now they're 1 and 2.
Yeah, we just checked on Ghost Gamers, 1 and 2.
They are the first and second highest ranked players in the world right now for Hearthstone. They're in elimination matches. They both lost once yesterday, so it's cool to see that these open tournament players, that these Challenger Cup players, like Gcttirth, like Kaldi, that you see on your screen there, can make it all the way and start making a little bit more of the name for themselves. So that's going to be our first match of the day, Gcttirth versus Kaldi. You can see their decks on the screen. Tirth, the Shaman, we've seen, he likes to play those underrepresented classes. You can see him bringing the Shaman, bringing the Priest, and Kaldi's going to go with that Rogue first of all.
9 solid picks from Kaldi. And one thing we were talking to Kaldi, you might not have noticed yesterday. We didn't notice. We just thought he didn't draw it.
Yeah.
He actually, his mage deck actually doesn't have Frostbolt. That's how he makes room for things like Blintron and Harrison.
Yeah, I was actually talking to him a little bit last night, and he was saying that he's actually pulled off the Blintron Harrison combo quite a few times. He actually linked me some screenshots of his shenanigans with Blintron.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, there was like what weapons he got, what weapons he didn't get, and he got the Ogre War Maul, the weapon that makes you attack a random, the warrior weapon that makes you attack a random thing. He says he hates that weapon with a passion. So he linked me a screenshot of it. I really felt for him with that one. But there's those times where you get Gorehowl, and you just Blintron up a Gorehowl, and then Gorehowl Fireball. It's like it's like crazy amounts of burst, but really cool card. I'm excited to see that deck. But Shaman versus Rogue. Now, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
It's generally pretty Rogue favorite. The Blade Flares are just too much for Shaman to deal with sometimes, but Shaman can get some insane tempo starts with, Zombie Chow, Creeper, Feral Spirits. I think Gcttirth had at least one yesterday. Yeah. And sometimes the Rogue has a little bit of a slow start, and they just kind of get run over, especially if a Loatheb comes down on turn 5 from the Shaman. That's how the Shaman typically wins. There are ways that you can sometimes grind out a Rogue if they don't draw Sprint. You have like a heal bot, something like that, some big creatures. But typically it's mostly just like in the early game pressure. Yeah. It's really, you have to like pressure early on, overwhelm them. I played some games on ladder last night as a Rogue, and I played a Mech Shaman 3 times in a row, and the Mech Shaman beat me 3 times in a row. He just had crazy starts, and I just didn't have the removal to be able to deal with it. And so I know firsthand the Gcttirth Shaman is not quite as aggressive and fast. Yeah, I was talking to Gara a bit about Shaman versus Rogue, and he says one of the ways you can play it is like, if you have enough burst, you can kind of play it like you're a face hunter. Yeah. You just burst down the Rogue, you have Crackles, you play off like your top decks. Like sometimes he'll play a game, he's like, well, I have 4 burst damage sources left that I could top deck, so I'm going to push for damage now, and then he'll draw it. Yeah, you put them on their back foot so they can't like set up huge burst plays. Makes it tough. Yeah, unfortunately Gcttirth, he doesn't really want the Crackle now. He wants the Zombie Chow, and then sometimes this early Mana Tide can be really punishing for Rogue, but we see Kaldi has Double Deadly, which is a great card against Shaman. Yeah, no, I was going to say no SI7, but there's the SI7, so Kaldi's got a great hand. Yeah. Gcttirth, the Dr. Boom can actually do a lot versus Rogue. He comes down, and then the Rogue's ahead. He's like, all right, I got a Violet Teacher and Azure Drake on the board. Dr. Boom comes down, 2 Boom Bots clear his board, and then he's like, no, I'm behind. Yeah, it's such a tough card to deal with. Can't sap it. And then usually you're taking damage because, just attacking things with your weapon throughout the game. And so a lot of times I find myself having to, maybe not forcing myself, but having to attack into the Dr. Boom sometimes, just to have to clear it with a flurry or something like that. So it's really hard to deal with. You don't want to sap it, you don't want to hit it, you don't want to evis it, but you have to do something, right? Yeah. The best course of action usually is like, if you have a Violet Teacher, you just make a ton of 1/1s and just ignore it. Yeah. Hope for the best. Yeah. Gcttirth picking up the Feral Spirits, pretty good, but he sees the Deadly on Kaldi, and Shamans typically don't run any form of weapon destruction, so as a Rogue you can just like hold a 3/1 dagger, just like threatening Blade Flurry the entire game. Yeah. Well, he goes for it. Not going to be punished though. There's no Blade Flurry. It's not too big of a Blade Flurry, because if you see Kaldi's on turn 4, so if he Blade Flurried, he couldn't do much else. He would just have to re-dagger. Yeah. But if you had like a prep Blade Flurry with that Violet Teacher, the game would be pretty much over. Yeah. He doesn't really have a play for this turn though. I guess Crackle, just to take out the Violet Teacher. Yeah, let's see what Crackle can do. He wouldn't mind throwing away that Zombie Challenge Crackle is like, honestly, it's a 2-for-1 on the Violet Teacher, but it's just a Zombie Chow. You're happy to trade into the Violet Teacher. Otherwise, if you let the Violet Teacher go off, you're going to be spending 3 cards clearing all the tokens in the Teacher itself. The lowest roll Crackle, he got a 3. There was a chance that he could have killed it. Oh, yeah.
Could have got a 5 or 6. What was that, 50-50?
Kaldi gonna be really sad if Gcttirth picks up the Earthshock, doesn't get it. So Gcttirth knows he wants to Fire Elemental next turn, so he's gonna put this Haunted Creeper. He knows that thing's gonna attack into his Wolf. It's gonna be at 1. This way he can trade the Haunted Creeper into it and then Fire Elemental whatever spawns. If it's 4, yeah, you can handle a 4 HP thing now with the Searing Totem.
Pretty good set of plays here. Well, Fire Elemental feels like it's pretty easy to clear for a Oil Rogue. There's it's got a low amount of health for like a big threat, like 5 health. It can be taken out by like a Backstab and Deadly Poison, or like a Deadly Poison plus a SI agent. There's a lot of things that it can get just caught in the crosshairs too. With a big blade flare.
Yeah, so Kaldi knows it's the Shaman's turn 6. He knows he wants a Fire Elemental, but he's like, okay, so I'll just put all my 3/3s on the board. You can't Fire Elemental them all.
Which one are you gonna go for?
Yeah, it's not like that new Skulker card that just AoE backstabs or whatever.
Yeah.
This only hits 1. And then, but an interesting thing is Kaldi is pretty positive that Gcttirth doesn't have an Earthshock the way because he could have thrown the Wolf in an Earthshock, but he just picked up the Earthshock. So we might see Kaldi make a huge Van Cleef. He can't make too big one now, but in the future he'll make a big one thinking there's no Earthshock, and then we see Gcttirth will Earthshock it.
Yeah.
You typically don't play around Big Game Hunter and Shaman, but you can. If you watched the games yesterday, you probably scouted out Gcttirth's deck, knows if he has Big Game Hunter or not.
Yeah.
I'm not sure myself. I think we saw it. We did see it?
I can't remember now. One of the Shamans did have a BGH, but we did see 2 Shamans yesterday. One from Limijux. So I'm not sure which one of those guys actually had the BGH, but I'd imagine it's a pretty common tech card in BGH. A lot of people, I mean, there's not really much hurt in it just because almost every deck runs Dr. Boom.
I like this. I like whenever you have AoE, you get the boom down, let the boom bots clear, then you AoE or use your spells, whatever.
Yeah. Such a tough card to deal with. Always a tough card to deal with.
Yeah, it actually is pretty good against Shaman too. We see Kaldi has his own. But right here, so you're not too sad throwing, like, say, the Bluegill in with an Evis, but he is going to sap it. I'm totally okay with this. One of the best times to sap it is when you can make more 1/1s. Yeah. So he's like, they don't really want to play it again because they know they're going to play it into just a board full 1/1s.
Yeah, because if he played it next turn again, it would be the only thing he played that turn. And when you're sapping, you want to make sure that you're also building up.
We'll see if he throws one of those into the bombs or not. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw one of the 1/1s in. No, he didn't. Okay.
Pretty sure on board.
Here's the Earthshock. He wasn't expecting it, like we said, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But actually now with some really good bomb hits, he could replay the Dr. Boom, but he's going to go with a Storm first and then clean up whatever lives.
Okay.
It's a pretty... Oh, he's got the spell power time, so it's a full clear.
I guess it was pretty inconsequential since he was planning on Lightning Storm anyway. He could have rolled for the Totem first and killed the Van Cleef, but it doesn't really matter. It was caught in the Lightning Storm regardless. But pretty good clear.
This is the card. It's no sprint, but it's the... Some people play this instead of sprint. I think Kaldi does play 2 sprint and 1 boom, though, so pretty solid.
Yeah.
The Shaman's going to have a hard time grinding out against a rogue with 2 sprint and the Dr. Boom.
It can be risky sometimes, if you get caught with sprint, all the 7 drops in your hand.
Yeah, well, that's what the prep's for. You know, you'll get a prep. One of them will turn into a 4 drop or whatever. But yeah, a lot of rogues, myself included, don't run Dr. Boom for that reason.
I think it's sort of a really great card for the mirror matchup. Because if you're playing against another rogue and you can lay a Dr. Boom on turn 7 in a state where like it's sort of even, where both rogues are sort of just like afraid to do something else, Dr. Boom can be the card that just pushes you over the edge.
It's just so threat. Like I said, the Violet Teacher and the Azure Drake, those are your cards as rogue, and they both die to boom bots too often.
Yeah.
All right, Gcttirth has a lot of stall. He's got the Feral Spirits and the Defender Argus, so he can kind of like roll for Taunt Totem if he doesn't get it, play a Taunt. Just like play 1 Taunt each turn, stall it out, get many Taunt Totems. But he's a little bit, he can get flurried down. He knows this. Now it's really dangerous.
You can take solace in the fact that Kaldi's actually running out of cards a little bit here. He needs to draw into a sprint really quickly, or it could be bad news for him. But there's so much potential damage that he can do this turn.
I like this from Gcttirth. Not making like a
lethal.
Weak defensive play. Yeah, unfortunately it's lethal, but it was like kind of a ballsy play. I like it.
I mean, you see he has 2 cards in his hand. He would need 4 points of direct damage from his hand. You're pretty much saying if you don't have Eviscerate, then, I mean, there was also chances that if he had Blade Flurry, the bombs could have like caused a chain reaction and hit his face anyway. But risky play didn't pay off, and Kaldi's going to take the victory in game number 1. And he's got to find victory with that mage deck. And that mage deck did not have the best of time yesterday. It was a total score of 1-3. He only won 1 match with it, and it was in the series that he won, of course. And in the first series that he played, he actually lost all 3 of his matches with mage.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the mage versus shaman. A lot of people have been starting to say it's a little bit shaman favored, but we'll see how the lack of frost bolts that might hurt him. You can't frostbolt Feral Spirit and Mana Tide. Might hurt him a little bit, but we'll see. Yeah,
be interesting. And Gcttirth, we'll see if he decides to switch it up with his decks. Yesterday, when he went down in the first game, he actually changed it up. It seems like he's a big fan of trying to keep his opponents off guard. He was one of the only players to bring both. He was the only player to bring both Shaman and Priest, which are the two classes that are the most underrepresented in tournament play and on ladder at the moment. And that's a really risky move because a lot of times you bring one of those decks as sort of like a surprise deck.
Yeah.
And you bring the other 2 strong decks like Druid or Rogue or Paladin, like any 2 of those.
You can kind of mess with people, though, that when they plan out their lineups, they're like, okay, I'm strong against everything, all the common lineups I'm strong against, and then all of a sudden some guy comes at you with Priest Shaman, you didn't consider this, and then, oh wow, I actually do have a hole in my lineup for this specific lineup. Unfortunately, he's just running in Kaldi's lineup is great with that Paladin. The Paladin can beat the Druid, the Shaman, and the Priest as long as the Priest doesn't do those thought steal on the Aldor, Cabal, the Tyrion. Although it's a fair matchup, but Paladin is going to be great versus Druid and Shaman. So as long as Kaldi can pick up a win with his Mage, and he should be able to against Druid, and I'm not sure against the Shaman. I think I rather would be the Mage, but I have seen Shaman beat Mech Mage a lot recently.
Yeah, that specific combination that you said, Thought Steal into Aldor, Cabal, the Tyrion, it seems like a very specific scenario, but you'd be surprised actually how many times that happens in that matchup.
Yeah.
We saw it yesterday.
And that was just too. That was like another way to do it.
Yeah, it's a crazy interaction, and it actually is a lot scarier than you'd think it would be because the percentage of that actually happening are not abysmal, I guess is the way to say it. But
we're still not sure if he runs 2 Thought Steal though. I think we've only seen like 1 each game.
Yeah, we haven't been through the whole deck.
Yeah.
It's a potential that he runs 2, but we have yet to see it. So Kaldi goes with the Kaldi.
Okay. Yeah.
He told me how to pronounce it. It's like the DI at the end is not D. It's like the DI in distance. Kaldi.
Distance. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's hard for English speakers to say because it feels unnatural to end a.
Not even just English, or even like European players. Like Gara is friends with him, and he calls him Kaldi.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But he corrected me on that last night when we had a little conversation. So he says it means a chilly person.
Cold or?
I think cold.
Okay.
Yeah. It
makes sense.
Yeah.
Is it like kind of like Alaska where they have 1,000 words for snow, or Canada? Is it like Iceland has like 1,000 words for cold people?
I'm sure they do because they look around and everything's just cold, so they need to make many words for it. Maybe they don't even need to make a word for hot. But there was always that in school. They always used to tell us you have to put Iceland and Greenland backwards. Like Greenland's all ice and Iceland's all green.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know how green Iceland actually is, but it's a lot more inhabitable than.
Okay, that makes sense.
Greenland.
I'll have to ask him about it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's he likes Sneeds. It's in his Priest deck.
Yeah.
It's in his Druid deck.
Yeah.
Actually, he was the one playing ramp Druid yesterday, so it is like a more ramp Druid.
Yeah. He was playing like the true ramp.
I wonder if he cut Dr. Boom and he's like totally avoiding Big Game Hunter targets.
Yeah. This is a really good starting hand because he can go coin 5-drop, coin 5-drop into 5-drop after that wild growth.
Yeah, but I think Paladin versus Ramp Druid is even better than Paladin versus Mid-Range Druid. Mid-Range Druid could easily pick up wins with the Roar combo, getting a board, but this matchup is very difficult for the Ramp Druid. You'll see, even if he can like have like a really good curve and keep playing creatures, but Equality Consecrate comes down, you're just done.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to these days to even force the Paladin. Like when you played Ramp Druid back in the day, like, all right, first I'm going to force him to Equality Consecrate this kind of medium board, and then I'm going to play a big board. Now you can't even force the Equality Consecrate because the Paladin's putting up so much pressure the whole time. You're just like fighting to stay alive.
Yeah.
And then once you finally do get a board, it's Equality Consecrated.
You don't really pressure as the Ramp Druid.
The Shaman, I mean the Paladin pressures you actually.
Yeah.
Even though you have these taunts, they just don't do enough.
You still have to make that read as a Paladin though. You have to be you have to have discipline with your qualities and with your consecrates, with the tools that you need to win. You have to identify that it's heavy ramp.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going full pressure with the tempo MC tech.
Yeah.
Oh man, see, these creatures just getting eaten by the True Silver. That's all you wanted the MC Tech to do, anyways.
Yep.
Maybe the Sneeds can do a lot of work, though.
I love Sneeds.
I love watching other players play Sneeds. I don't know about myself.
Yeah.
When I play myself, I put it on the board, and then Sylvanas comes down. But at least, yeah. Oh, no, yeah. So he's going to have to worry about that. Kaldi has the Sylvanas. So say he plays Sneeds, and then he plays Sylvanas, and that keeper's gone. It's going to be rough.
Yeah. Yeah, and since he put his own Sylvanas out there first, it's sort of like not a liability, but he knows he won't have that later on, so.
Yeah.
He does have the keeper, which is good, but.
Yeah, unfortunately, Druids don't really have a way to. You can go for the Sylvanas double wrap in the Tyrion, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So they usually throw it out early.
Uh-huh.
Especially because, like I said, the Druid's just trying to keep up. And then Paladins do run owls typically, and sometimes if you're too far behind, they owl your Sylvanas, you're just dead. Plus, he's going to get the guaranteed steal on something, like at least the ooze here.
Yeah, this is a tough turn though, because you want to be able to deal with that Sylvanas while giving it the least impactful steal.
Yeah. Well, there's muster for that, so he can like let the Sylvanas live one turn.
Yeah.
And then muster and kill it next turn, something like that. He's deciding maybe if he wants to go for his own Sylvanas, but he probably won't. He knows it's ramp, so he's like, I'll just get value from this later. I'll maybe burn the keepers.
Yeah. And there's ways that you put your Sylvanas down with his Sylvanas on the board, you're giving him initiative, which means that he can control what he does with his Sylvanas. So,
yeah.
Like, you know that he can do 2 damage with a keeper to his own Sylvanas to try for a steal.
Yeah, not to mention, yeah, Druid has at least 2 keepers, whereas he has more sources of silence, whereas the Paladin usually has 1 to 0 owls.
The Khazan Mystic is an interesting tech card to be put in. We talked about it yesterday, but Tirth must have been expecting a lot more mages and hunters that were actually present at this tournament. We've only seen a couple mages, and it could be a thing later on in this series because Kaldi is one of the few players that actually does have mage.
Yeah, you know what it is? Sometimes it's like kind of replacing the zombie chow. They don't want the zombie chow, but they do want something against hunter, so they'll go with the Khazan.
It's not the worst body in the world, but for the amount of times that you play Khazan Mystic and like instantly win a game against like a hunter or a mage because of the tempo that it gains, outweighs the times where it comes in your hand and you just have to play it as a 4/3.
Not to mention, as a druid, you know, you typically have more mana than your opponent, so the 4 mana isn't a big deal.
It's like a silenced piloted shredder.
Yep. Alright, so he's going to save that Muster Quartermaster combo till turn 8, probably.
You might even be able to get away with a hero power Quartermaster.
Okay, that
right
actually
now
is fine. He's going to go for let him try to steal the weakened ooze first. I'm surprised he didn't hero power first, so I guess he's not going to hero power, he's just going to... He would have hero powered first for sure.
Yeah. That's what... Or maybe he wanted...
Oh no, he wanted to buff it up.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
You're right.
Because Sylvanas would not make any sense because he could easily just trade what he has on the board with the Sylvanas. He wants to leverage that later on as an actual threat to steal something instead of just throwing it out there as a body.
Yeah. Plus maybe he wants to save it till he has Tyrion too. So he's like, all right, I got my 2 silence targets. I'll throw one out for the keeper, then I'll throw the second one out immediately if he doesn't have the answer. Or if he chose to keep it the first one.
Is it time for the Sneeds?
We'll see. Okay, so... Nice.
And now, Sylvanas.
Okay, there it is.
That's so rough.
Yeah, and the owl too, just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case he can deal with it. So yeah, he'll probably silence it, trade, and then he can owl, and then trade the Quartermaster right in.
Disappointing though. I always love to see what comes out of those Sneeds, but it is most likely going to get silenced, so... It's too bad. Too bad.
Consecrate would be sick here, because you know it's not that great against Paladin without the equality. But here, this is as good as it's going to get. That's a good card.
The Paladin Sky Golem. We saw Life Coach running those in his Paladin deck as well. It's a card that some Paladins, actually quite a few Paladins are plopping into their decks.
Yeah, it's a decent card. It's just like, there's so many like, you know, below average 4-drops. Like I said, we're used to seeing the Shredder, the Yeti, and the, you know, the Senjin, something like that. But most 4-drops are actually worse than those.
Paladin Shredder is a lower risk because the variance is lower.
Yeah, all the 2-drops are pretty close.
Yeah.
They're all pretty similar power level. Whereas you get something off like this, like a summoning portal.
Yeah.
I'm not happy.
Well, I don't know. Summoning portal could be good depending on what class you're playing. Mech Mage, you get a summoning portal, just flood your hand onto the board.
Nice. Kaldi is playing the Paladin Sky Golem in the middle. The only reason for that, I think, is the Wii Spell Stopper, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Mind control tech. Does he want to try and increase the chances? No, he's just going to see what he gets. Oh! Gets the Sky Golem. You can see Kaldi is very upset about that.
Wow. Okay.
He does give a smile, though. He understands.
Wow.
It's part of the game, my friend. Part of the game.
That is insane. Was Kaldi... if he stole anything else, would Kaldi have just won the game? This is looking actually pretty close with the...
Yeah.
He's out of cards, but he really needed that not to happen.
And you can see just the playstyle difference between a heavy ramp and the combo druid, because he's playing very board control oriented. He wants to make sure that he just controls the board as much as possible. He knows that since he's most likely not running combo, that he needs to make sure that he just controls as much of the board as he possibly can, because he's not going to burst him down.
It's usually not one of the good ones. Usually when I get that Goblin Blast Mage or the panda guy.
Oh yeah.
I'm a little upset because the 4 HP is usually not enough, and as we see, it does get True Silvered immediately. So it seems strong, but it was actually weak.
The Ancient Brewmaster. Yetis are one of the best targets that you can get from that.
Actually, I'm a little happy for Gcttirth because I have played this matchup from the Ramp Druid side, and it's usually miserable.
Yeah.
It usually doesn't look anything like this. But, yeah, cool. As you can see, he probably wasn't even thinking about Equality Concentrate. He's like, I just got to get control of the board. And he's like, I got it. Now you can Equality Concentrate. I will be sad, but I can recover.
Yeah. Blood Mage.
Okay. He probably wanted that.
Yeah, he's running out of cards. He needs to try and find something to come back, but he's just dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
There's no way that he can get out of this one. He actually needed like a taunt just to be able to stay alive, so.
Yeah.
Gcttirth gonna take a game tied up at 1-1 and takes a victory with that druid. I don't think he saw a victory with that druid yesterday, so that'll be good for him.
Good for him, yeah.
Yeah. And the
class
class
druid. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the heavy ramp druid is something that we don't see quite as much lately, just because of the it's weaker against rogue, it's weaker against paladin than like the mid-range druid, and so those two classes are populating the ladder right now. They're in competitive play. They're probably the two classes that we've seen the most so far in week 1 of the Legendary Series. So it's a bold move. All of his decks are very bold. Yeah. Shaman, mid-range Shaman, Priest, and heavy ramp druid.
Although you know, Priest is pretty good against Mech Mage. You know, you get that Hawkeye clear, you get to the Cabal turns, and then you just win.
As long as you can draw into your answers early on. I mean, that's sort of the strength of Priest, but also the downfall of Priest, because there's sometimes where you just draw no answers to anything that they do.
But then as the Mech Mage, you're like, they haven't done anything, but you're like, am I about to get my whole board wiped here?
Yeah.
And then sometimes it can be really scary from the other side, even though the Priest is just like passing the whole time.
I have a lot of respect for Priest players because the patience required to play Priest is, I think.
Yeah, we saw that just yesterday. Remember, he had the Pyromancer. He had like the Pyromancer, Holy Nova, I mean the Pyromancer, Powered Shield, Smite, and every turn he's just like, next turn.
Oh, wait a little bit longer. He'll pass. He'll pass. He'll pass. And I'm like, I would have just gone for it 3 turns ago, man. But I mean, that's how you win as a Priest, and that's what separates the great players, the great Priest players, from just the average Priest players. All right. Priest versus Mage. Priest.
Gcttirth saving his Shaman as his last deck. Well, he opened Shaman, but then he's like, all right, fine. I'll save it for the end.
It's all about mind games.
Yeah, it could have been something to do with, since it lost to Rogue specifically.
Yeah.
Now he looks at Kaldi's remaining lineup of Paladin Mage, and now he knows it's actually strong against those two, so he saves it for the end. That's probably his thinking.
Yeah.
Or at least compared to Priest.
Yeah, so he needs to pick up those wins with Priest and Shaman. Kaldi needs to pick up the wins with Mage and Paladin. And here we go. Sneeds, Tirth's favorite card. Well, actually, he told me his favorite card was Light of the Naru, but we can see that he's a big fan of Sneeds as well. Sneeds is like one of those cards where you either play it once, you get something really bad, and you never play it again, or you play it once, you get something really good, and then you keep playing it despite the signs that it keeps giving you.
Yeah.
Like all the Blood Mage Thanos that it gives you.
Lord Walker Cho.
Yeah.
Peggle. Yeah.
I hate Lord Walker Cho.
Kaldi's hand is great. The Shredder is sometimes as Mech Mage you want to look for lower drops, but it's such a good card against Priest, I wouldn't be surprised to see him keep it. The Neutron you actually don't need against Priest. Usually, it protects your minions from whatever they put on the board.
Mm-hmm.
It actually, I guess it'll block 2 Cultist hits, which is huge. Like a little 2-drop blocking their 3-drop twice, and he's probably going to play 1 mana for it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. He keeps it probably because he has the Mech Warper. If he didn't have the Mech Warper, he probably would have tossed it. Entity against Priest. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Most of the time, they're going to, unless they have like a Northshire Cleric, you're going to get something pretty solid from Entity. Ooh, Mad Scientist and a Secret in your hand, though. As long as you doesn't get both.
Priests typically don't run Shadow Word Pain, so this is safe. Like usually, we've seen Kaldi a lot just save the Mech Warp until he gets the guaranteed value turn, but he feels totally safe against Priest. He's like, if you Shadow Word Pain it, I'm not even sad.
This is so scary if you're the Priest player because you know that leaving this Mech Warper up is a very dangerous thing to do, especially for a couple turns.
Gcttirth not to instantly squelch. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, Kaldi is, as we've seen yesterday, he gives the greetings before every single game.
Alright, so it does die. But it's not even that good because Kaldi wasn't even going to use the buff that turn unless he picks up a 2-drop. He wasn't even going to use it, look.
Wow, though. He's got both mirror entities in his hand, and
oh, that's bad.
He doesn't run any counter spells or anything. I think those are his only 2 secrets.
Yeah, he's like, please silence this.
Yeah. And he's going to know right away that there's both secrets in his hand. It could affect his play a lot.
It does. That gives you like a lot of confidence when you're playing against I was playing against a Moz recently. He played a Scientist, and I killed it, and there's just nothing. It was so early, I was like, wow, I could do whatever I want because you have 2 secrets.
I'm free!
Exactly. Well, basically what it means is Gcttirth can he knows that that's in his hand, so he knows he can just afford to hold on to something to bait or to pop the entity with something weak, and he knows he can just make long-term plays. He doesn't have to worry about dying soon. He can make just the best long-term play. Yeah.
Ooh. Those were actually pretty good blasts because he wanted to be able to kill the Akanai this turn.
Let's see some reactions here from Gcttirth. Oh, he was surprised. He's like, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Those blasts could have backfired, though, because if those just hit the Dark Cultist and actually buffed up the Akanai, that's probably would have been a really big swing play for Tirth, because then he could have used his hero power as just a really good tempo tool.
Yeah, I mean, Kaldi probably he's like, I got this double entity, my hand's awful, I got to make some high-risk plays.
Yeah.
Picking up, is that the second Scientist you just picked up?
Yep.
Okay.
That's rough.
That is...
Both mirror entities, both Mad Scientists in his first, 8 cards? He's
going to take a moment to feel bad about it. He's like, right, yep. Never lucky.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of Mech Mage haters are probably loving this, loving the justice here.
Yeah. His mage is a little bit different than most Mech Mages. He runs the Blingtron plus Harrison and Water Elemental.
Yeah.
As we saw yesterday.
No Frostbolts.
No Frostbolts.
Favoring more minions for a better curve.
Yeah.
Interesting though, a lot of players would pick would cut the Fireball before the Frostbolts. He does have the Fireball, so he likes the top deck burst.
Yeah.
So he needs the damage. Actually, this actually goes into the way he played. Remember the way he played versus Paladin? I was like, really, you're not going to push for damage. You're going to push for more board control. So then maybe that's why, because his deck's a little different.
Yeah.
So remember, there was a turn where he killed off his Sylvanas, where most Mech Mages wouldn't. So that probably went into it. Like he's like, I'm fine. I'll just Harrison you later. So now the Mech Mage did not put enough pressure up, and now he gets Caballed, and it just shuts down your aggression. You just can't.
Yeah.
It's such a huge swing.
He's thinking what he wants to do here, though, because he saw the other Mad Scientist didn't pull a secret, so he knows that his hand has both secrets in it, if he runs 2. So he's thinking, am I going to be able to get a better target off Cabal? Should I just Akanai Soul Priest here and ping off the Goblin Blast Mage?
Yeah.
He's deciding which one he wants to do.
And he knows that Kaldi knows he has no secret. So he knows, he's like, okay, so he just throw that as bait. Does he want to play something better? But there's nothing, there are things that are better, but they're not that great.
Yeah.
But that was kind of like a really good entity to give him. Maybe not the best.
Well, I mean, it's kind of tough to think, like, what else am I going to draw within the next couple turns that's going to be a better entity target for him? Do I want to give him a Soul Priest? Do I want to give him a Cabal? Or Soul Priest is probably a little bit better of a card to give him just because of the 1 less power.
Yeah, I don't think he runs Chows or anything. Just the Pyromancer, but...
Yeah.
Alright, so Entity, okay, so we get caught up because Scientist is so overpowered, but Entity is a good card.
Yeah.
It is a good card, so it can do a lot of work here from Kaldi. Good use of the mage hero power.
I mean, he's keeping up with the tempo of the board here, because even though he didn't get that explosive start that mech mages love, or that they a lot of times need to take wins, he with these mirror entities, he's still at least staying even, I suppose.
Yeah, I think Gcttirth needed to draw nothing this turn, but he drew something, so now I think that's pretty much it. So Kaldi needs to top deck, you know, the Dr. Boom and the Antonitis really quick, or it's over.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take, you know, 2 turns, 3 turns for Gcttirth to kill him. So he has 2 more draws. Like Dr. Boom would equalize. It's not Dr. Boom. I mean, that's close, but he can't do it this turn.
Yeah. Having an unanswered Arcanine on the board is just so tough, because Priest can actually pressure with that. I mean, they're doing an extra 2 damage per turn.
You know, Shadow Form.
The Shadow Form Priest.
The few times that Priest has a better board than you always got to be worried about Vol'jin, because usually they have nothing on the board. Anytime you leave a minion up, you're thinking of 2 things against Priest. You're thinking, can he drop down a Cleric and heal that up and get a free card? Do I have to clear it? Or can he Vol'jin?
Yikes.
That poor Light Warden, never going to get buffed up because the Aqua.
Unless it dies, which at this point is unlikely.
Oh, actually, I can get some value there.
Yeah.
Actually, a good use of the 1/2.
That's a pretty good card to block damage, so it'll buy him a little bit more time. It's a pretty good Blast Mage board. He can, well, I don't know.
He has to hit the Light Warden first.
Yeah. Or all 4 shots to the Arcanine.
Okay, it clears first. I didn't know how that would work.
Buffs up the Vol'jin, though, makes it even harder.
Okay.
He's thinking, what other targets would Shadow or Death be good on? Dr. Boom, Archmage Antonitis.
You might be thinking, yeah, he's like, the only way I lose is Dr. Boom, so maybe I just hold on to this.
Yeah, I would be inclined to hold on to it, just because if you use... I mean, he's basically out of cards. If he uses everything right now, then...
It looks like he wants a circle. I like this.
Well...
Circle, refill. He's going to... Okay, or not. I thought he was going to circle heal this turn with the Cleric. It's fine, though. Oh, he doesn't even need to circle. Yeah, this is fine. But yeah, maybe slightly risky with the burning the death.
Oh.
Never mind.
Fantastic card to draw at this stage, and the Dr. Boom.
1 turn too late for Kaldi.
Comes in
Although
hand.
he did have the death, so it wouldn't have been that great last turn.
Yeah. That's pretty rough. He drew what he needed, but so did Tirth.
In turn 10, I if I'm Kaldi, I play that, and then I just open up the menu with my hand over the concede as soon as I see my controls look good. That's what he's,
I've done that too. Like, I glance at when I'm about to die, I cover my face so all I can see is my health bar.
Yep.
And then I escape and concede. I don't even want to see what happens. Just get me out of this game.
Alright. Priest just taking it slow.
It's the only way they really can take it.
Yep.
That Priest person. And there's the concede, and Tirth takes a victory with his Priest.
Yeah, pretty decent matchup for the Priest, so not too surprised.
Yep. Kaldi, he's on the ropes now. He's got to win 2 games in a row. He still has to find a win with that Mage. Still has to find a win with the Paladin.
Yeah.
And Tirth, he just has to win with Shaman. He's got 2 chances.
Just has to win with Shaman. It's a tall order. It's not that good for the class.
Not as easy as it sounds. It's not like a Druid where you just can do Druid things, get wild growth shenanigans early on, innervate something. Shaman doesn't have that luxury. Even their best matchups aren't really that great of matchups.
Yeah. Let's see, what is their best matchup? I can't.
Warrior?
You know, oh, okay, Warrior.
And there's no Warriors.
And Warrior can easily just pull a win sometimes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Their best matchup's like 60-40, which is...
Yeah.
I mean, there's other classes in the game that have some like 80-20 matchups, 70-30 matchups. So it's still going to be a tough road for both these guys. Gcttirth hasn't had much luck so far with that Shaman deck. Kaldi, on the other hand, though, hasn't had much luck with his Mage deck. And both those guys have to find victories to that if they're going to want to move on to the semifinals.
Yeah, Kaldi, he's been struggling with. He struggled a lot with the Mage deck yesterday, but he did. Yeah. He should be able to against the Shaman. I don't know though. No Feral, you can't Frostbolt the Feral Spirit. It's gonna have a rough time.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need Frostbolt if you just draw Blast Mage. You're good to go. Nice. So going with the Mage first. In the past, I'd say that the players go with the the deck that needs the least information, but I think maybe he's just going for momentum here. He thinks the mage is better. He's going to go get the first win first.
He has a lot of confidence in that mage, we've seen. And after talking to him last night, talking to him the day before, he really thinks that mage deck is a lot stronger than his results have shown so far in this week one of the Legendary Series. He got not 0-3, but he had a close series 3-2 where all of his losses, all 3 of his losses were with the mage deck. And he's only even drawn the Blingtron once.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've even seen it played.
And then I was thinking about it more, the Blingtron Harrison. When you first see that, you're like, okay, that's gimmicky and rare. But now that you think about it, I think you mentioned yesterday, Rogues, very common in Conquest. Yeah. You don't need the Blingtron, you just Harrison them. Same against Paladin, also very common. Yeah,
it's not just the combo that you're looking for. Is Harrison's just also good by itself. Blingtron, maybe not as good by itself because there's some times where it can come back to bite you, but there's also times where...
Yeah, for the most part though, with Anoyotron, Water Elemental, I was gonna say Frostbolt, but he doesn't have Frostbolt because if they do get the Gorehouse, sometimes you just Frostbolt their face, and that's a good play.
Another thing that he mentioned was Blingtron can sometimes be used as like a sort of a pseudo Harrison.
Yeah.
Like because it removes their weapon and gives them a new weapon. So if they have like an oiled up weapon that you know is gonna be Blade Flare next turn, or even like a True Silver Champion or an Ashbringer, it's likely that you're gonna give them something worse.
Yeah, as long as you don't give them the Arcanite Reaper, then they can flurry that too.
Yeah, or like a Gorehowl or Gladiator Longbow.
I don't know if I've ever been, as a rogue player, I think someone's only Blingtron me like once ever, and I got something weird. It's sad.
The only time I've ever been Blingtron was, I was playing a warrior against the Blingtron mage, and I had a Fiery War Axe with 1 charge left, and he Blingtroned me, and I got a brand new Fiery War Axe. It was the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do that. The War Maul is pretty fun though. Like I have given someone a War Maul and they like hit past my taunt and hit something good. I think they still lost, but it was still sick.
Yeah, I always take the ogres in arena just because it just makes the game that much more interesting.
Except for when you're about to win, then your ogre keeps missing and you lose.
Yeah.
It's like you had 1 job.
Well, this is rough. Once again, not the best start here for Kaldi. Tirth doesn't have the best hand either, though.
It's pretty good. Usually when you see those spiders, you're like really afraid of a Flame Tongue Totem going down, but the Anoyotron just as good against Flame Tongue spiders as regular spiders.
Feral Spirit, though, it's going to lock him out of doing much next turn.
Yeah. So Crackle, typically a mage is going to drop like a 4 HP thing here. So Crackle should be good enough. He's got the spider too. This is actually good, because when Crackle first came out, the Shamans weren't playing Feral Spirits. I haven't seen this in a while, this Feral Spirits into Crackle. Seems like a pretty decent sequence, although there is even more overload, right?
Yeah.
Long turn.
Not the best Goblin Blast Mage there, but he is able to clear off one of the Feral Spirits and that second Spider, so... I mean, even the worst Goblin Blast Mage is still a fantastic tempo card.
Yeah, 5/4. Like I said, the Panda, the 5/4 Panda, it was usually bad because the HP was a liability, but...
Ouch.
Moment of silence there for...
Yeah.
I feel for him.
It's punishing him for playing Shaman. That's backwards.
Yeah.
He's playing Shaman. Cut him some slack here.
Oh, Gcttirth, I'm really still upset about that.
Yeah. He's a really calm guy, though. We mentioned yesterday that he plays in almost every single tournament, all the weekly tournaments, all the open tournaments. He just plays in everything, so I'm sure he's been in situations before, high-pressure situations, must-win situations, and so he seems to be one of the players that keeps his head calm whenever he's in those types. He just seems happy to be able to play and all this stuff.
Yeah, going with the 2 Argus. I've seen some Shaman cut down to 1. I like 2, but it's you can see it's hurting him here. He's gonna have trouble using both of them. And Kaldi is the player that clears a lot, and especially against Shaman's like one of the most important classes to clear against.
Yep.
So he's probably not gonna let him get a good Argus off ever.
Yeah, because he could turn a 2/3 into something a lot more powerful with Rock Biters, with Flame Tongue Totems.
Yeah, he's gonna need that Storm though soon. It's not even good here yet.
Yeah, at this stage, I mean, Shamans, once they fall behind, it's so hard for them to catch up because usually they don't run much heal, maybe an antique heal bot. They don't have many ways to... It's hard for them to clear, build a board, and be able to come back and burst.
Yeah, is he dead if he doesn't roll Taunt Totem? If he goes with the Shredder, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, He's looking for like a burn spell. 1 mana. Got it. Got it.
Wow.
Was he gonna go for that or the zombie chow?
Yeah.
He's 1 damage off. I mean, yeah, it's the better long-term play.
Yeah.
We see Gcttirth make those plays a lot. He's not one to make the overly defensive play and lose. Like Azusa, we saw lose that game because he played way too defensive.
Yeah.
Gcttirth, he's like, nah, I'm just gonna make the play, the winning play every time.
He makes the play to set him up for a win, not the play to prevent him from losing. Which is more times than not, I think, is the right way to play.
Yeah,
like
it's always a judgment call.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, Gcttirth like always goes with the.
Yeah.
All right, Kaldi, you got to do 1 damage. Can you do it? It's like he wants to freeze. He's like, but I can just Antonidas freeze next turn.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm not freezing. Oh, actually, he does want to freeze because he doesn't want that zombie chow heal to go off. But I think he can afford it. It only heals for 5, whereas next turn he gets the fireball for 6.
I mean, he could just do nothing, ping and then freeze. And what is Tirth even going to do? I mean, if he plays anti-Keelbot, that's his entire turn. He's got 1 overloaded crystal for the next turn because of the lightning bolt. The only thing he would be able to do would be heal, and then he would kill him.
I wouldn't have minded the Snow Chugger or freeze on the Azure Drake, though. But
yeah. Well, he's going to kill the zombie chow, throw out the feral spirit, and assess the situation. But actually, this will keep him alive.
Yeah, yeah. Roll a taunt and you're alive. You don't need a roll taunt, but you're still alive. But
yeah.
So Gcttirth's aggressive or not defensive play paying off. Actually starting to swing back. We see he has the Antonidas though.
And now he needs, we don't even know if he's running any heal in his deck, but Lotheb wouldn't even save him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 9 mana. Nope.
He would have 9 mana next turn. Actually, no. Even anti-Keelbot wouldn't save him because he could just chain the fireball. He would have to have, no, he wouldn't even be able to hex and anti-Keelbot. Just no way out of it.
Yeah, needs like a Deathwing or something. What's that card? Ancestral's Call. Or it doesn't even work with the battle cry, right?
Yeah, it doesn't even work, no. We've seen Ancestral Call a few times here on the Legendary Series, and both times to very explosive effect. But Kaldi is going to tie it up 2-2 in this series, and Gcttirth still struggling to find wins with that Shaman.
I mean, is it his fault, though, the Crackle rolled for 3?
No, yeah, because that Blast Mage ended up doing quite a bit of damage after surviving that Crackle. I think it did 10, maybe even 15 damage.
Yeah, cleared a wolf there.
Yeah. Just a little bit of a fortunate draw, but I mean that's the name of the game. He does have 2 chances with that Shaman though, so this game is going to determine who moves on to the semifinals to face Nico, who is the player that defeated Life Coach.
Yeah, he did great yesterday.
Like 3-0 or 3-1.
I don't know, but he did great. Yeah.
He was fantastic. He was one of the players that surprised me the most coming from that Challenger Cup. He said Life Coach was his favorite player, so Kaldi and Tirth have their work cut out for them, even if they manage to win this game. And you could tell, get in that match screen really quickly because both players only have 1 deck remaining to win with. It is going to be Shaman versus Paladin.
Yeah, heavily Paladin favored. So going to be pretty hard for Gcttirth. Oh man.
Oh man. An uphill battle. But that's what he's all about. We mentioned it before. He loves to play those underdog classes. He likes to prove to people that they're not underrepresented because they're weak. They're underrepresented because people just don't understand them as much. Or because Crackles always roll for 3.
Yeah. We saw him have that crazy start yesterday against Paladin with the double tide.
Yeah.
And he had like all these cheap spells too, so like it wasn't, he was like able to use all his mana effectively, but he still lost.
He's still lost.
Against Paladin, yeah.
We said, oh man, Paladin doesn't have any way to deal with double coin Mana-Tide Totem into Mana-Tide Totem. Paladin doesn't have any way to deal with this. Yep.
Okay. Alright, Gcttirth is the egg good enough against Paladin? You can't really, you kind of have a hard time killing your own egg, because if you know, there's not many strong, you just like 1/1s. And you don't even want to like throw it into a mini bot, really.
Yeah.
But he does keep it.
He does have double.
He does have a double Argus. So
yeah.
Okay, getting the mana side. Zombie Chow is actually big. Clears the 1/1s, deals with the mini bot better than almost anything else.
That's always what I hate to see as a Paladin player when opponent plays Zombie Chow, because you can't play Knife Juggler.
Yeah.
You can play Shield and mini bot, but it's just going to match up to it. And then if you play Shield and mini bot, you're pretty much forced to just
you think he's not even going to play
hero power. I think he's going to play it, but then the turn after, it limits him to just like a hero power.
Okay.
it really does. It makes you think like, oh, if I just put my shield and minibot out there, it's effectively not wasting it, but it just hurts so much.
This is one of the matchups where I would consider, you know, when you're a control player, you don't really double coin zombie chows. It's not like a leopard gnome. You double coin a leopard. It's just like a defensive. You just like, I just need one.
Yeah.
I'm going to save my coin. But against Paladin, I would consider it just because, you know, muster. You want to keep ahead of them.
Yeah.
We'll see if it's better or worse that he saved it. Yeah, it's not like he would have flame tongue and gone face anyways. Oh, but he is going to coin. Oh, go for the mana tide. He dies to muster, but he's like saying, I'm going to lose if you have muster anyways. I have the storm. It's fair. So, yeah, it's only muster, right? Nothing. Coghammer.
Yeah, Coghammer. Coghammer would actually be... no, because he wouldn't be able to pop the shield, so he'd effectively waste the Divine Shield, because you'd have to throw the mini-bot into the Manatide Totem. But Muster would be the best way to deal with this, but he doesn't have it. So...
Gcttirth happy to pick up his one drop.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few Aldor Peacekeepers on zombie chows.
Yeah.
So far this tournament, like 3 or 4 now. I mean, it's a pretty good tempo play, especially with the shielded mini-bot. It makes it so that it's not going to trade evenly with it.
Would have been sick if he picked up the Feral Spirit, but... Alright. Taking it slow. Oh, is he gonna... Okay, no. Definitely not gonna Flame Tongue because he wants that extra draw.
Yeah.
He has Totem, Chow.
In the Flame Tongue, he would clear off the mini-bot, but like you said, he would lose the draw, and the Flame Tongue would just get picked up pretty easily by the Peacekeeper the following turn, which is...
Yeah. Oh, maybe he just wants to set up the egg instead of a Totem. No, he's playing it slow. He'll save the egg for when he has Argus, I guess. Or just when he can fit it in with a Totem as well.
The Crackle, his arch nemesis.
That's usually what he wanted because he knows there's no muster. So he knows there's only going to be like one creature coming down each turn from Kaldi. But yeah, he might not trust it right now. Plus, he might not want to cast on turn 4 because then his next turn. But he has the double 2 drops, so I think he might be okay. Totem, Crackle, Totem, 2 drop, something like that. He knows Kaldi has the Mind Control tech, right? That was him. Yeah, again against the Druid earlier.
Yeah,
the Mind Control tech.
He did play the Mind Control
tech.
tech.
That is something you have to be worried about as a Shaman.
It's not something that you can afford to really play around that much as a Shaman, though. I mean, you can consciously make the choice to like not play a big threat, but like, are you really gonna just not totem up or play like a spider or something because you're worried about Mind Control tech? It's one of those things where you hurt yourself more by playing around it than if you actually had it and stole something inconsequential like a totem.
Well, you will see it towards the end. Like sometimes you'll see like these weird. You have 4 creatures and you just trade one out. Like he did there, but it was an effective trade. But we'll see in the future if he is afraid of it or not, or how he chooses to play around it.
And now his board is looking pretty measly right now.
He's got an egg. When I got a Shredder into a totem, it's like I want that 4 damage.
But it's one of the only ways you can let Shamans come back in the game is if you leave totems on the board, allow them to get more value out of cards like Flame Tongue or even Rockbiter, just to be able to save some damage.
Okay, a lot of, like, Kaldi's board is really difficult. Double Death Rattle, and they both have, like, one has 5 HP, one has 3 HP, so. But he picks up the Double Storm. Like, the Crackles were, he doesn't trust the Crackle right now. He's it's like,
Crackle, you're in timeout, man.
Very blue and red hand.
It's a great observation.
Yeah. Just want to let people know.
Shamans are a very blue and red type of class.
Got some green with the Rockbiter.
Yeah. Paladins are all about that tan. The off-white.
Which one's he going to hit? The Belcher or the... Okay. He just wants to set up for the...
Oh!
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah. It's effectively useless right now, because usually Shamans don't start doing damage until they get back control of the board, and if he does gain back control of the board, then he'll be able to deal with that Vitality Totem quite easily.
Okay, so he actually has... Wow. If you look at his hand, Double Storm and Hex. So he can grind this Paladin out.
Yeah.
Paladin's going to run out of cards very quickly if he gets stormed down. He has the Tyrion, it's going to get hexed. Alright. Alright, GC. Okay. Ooh. Wow. Oh, okay. It's like, oh, it's going to win.
He plays the Harrison as just a tempo player here. Makes the read that he doesn't have like Doomhammer or something for the late game.
Which we've seen Gcttirth play so much, you know Doomhammer.
Yeah.
He does have the Power Mace though, right? the other
I
guy.
can't remember if it was him or not. Oh, wow. Gets the high roll on the
He didn't even
Harrison
need
as
it,
well.
honestly. What he needs mostly is Kaldi not to draw land hands. If he doesn't draw land hands, he's looking at a win. Although Gcttirth hands only spells, but you know, as a shaman, you're okay. You're like, I'll just totem.
Yeah. Those totems
I have
go a long
creatures.
way.
I always have creatures right here. It's a little 2-mana thing. Really wants to save the rock. I'm surprised he just didn't kill Sylvanas. I guess he doesn't care about giving him a totem now that he has the AoE.
Yeah. Well, he could use a like Rock Bite or Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, I guess not though. Whoa. Oh, he has the Earth Shock.
Yep, that's true.
Maybe it is a Tyrion bait. He's like, look, I'm hexing this. I can't deal with here.
Come on, man.
Slam
Play
that
the
Tyrion.
Tyrion. Dare you.
Although he is a little sad now that he probably wanted to. Actually, yeah, he really wanted to Earth Shock that, but he is going to be forced to give him one card with the Acolyte.
Yeah.
He has the Rock Biter. Oh, look at Gcttirth. He's scratching. He's like, yeah. I knew you'd do that.
Oh, wow. This is a really pretty clean clear here. If he wants to use both flame, I mean, he could do anything that he wants here. Lightning Bolt. He could use the second Flame Tongue Totem. He could crackle it.
Yeah, it could be like a Overload thing. He's like, I can afford the Overload the bolt now. I'll save the Rock Biter when I need it. Or when I think he does play Alec here, at the very least.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
And yeah, like he can afford the Overload now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, plus it was only 3 damage. It needed the 4 damage, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Hero Power, Acolyte of Pain, Quartermaster could be reasonable play here. I don't think you really need to be conservative with your Quartermaster at this stage because, I mean, there's still so many cards in your deck. You're not going to be guaranteed to draw muster for battle anytime soon. So
yeah, you're seeing the totems pile up. You need to get that 2/5 on the board.
For sure.
Is he going to do one of those weird Arguses to get the 3 or no?
It's so hard to use Argus with Flame Tongue Totem.
Yeah.
This is a
He's
pretty
like, okay,
decent
so
clear.
he's looking at Kaldi's hand. You're never going to have more creatures than this.
Yep.
Okay, wow, so Shaman actually picking up a win. Or, okay.
Little bit ahead of yourself.
I'll wait.
I don't know. It feels like we've been in this situation before with the Shaman, and it's just like,
Yeah.
well, he's in a great spot, but this is a really intimidating board, though, because you can't really play creatures into it because it just trades so efficiently. When you're just trading totems in to creatures like, he plays a Paladin Shredder here. Like, Healing Totem goes in, and then one of the other totems go in, and he basically traded, like, what, half of the Argus effectiveness plus a totem for your Paladin Shredder. Feels pretty terrible.
Yeah, and this is like when you feel like a warrior is paladin, you're like, oh, I have to swing my weapon into your totem.
Yeah.
It's like the worst feeling.
Yeah, most of the time your Fiery War Axe is in, like, charges of your Death Spike go into, like, taunted up Haunted Creepers or...
And then
like
when you think they're out of taunts, you just weave in the Feral Spirits. Like, they roll Taunt Totem, they roll Taunt Totem, and then they roll a non-Taunt Totem, you're like, yes, they didn't roll Taunt Feral Spirits, okay.
You end up using Brawl, and it's like 4 totems and a Haunted Creeper, and then he's left with 2 spiders. You're like, oh no! I would never do that. Use Brawl, the 4 totems and a Haunted Creeper.
Sometimes you gotta.
It was an exaggerated example for dramatic effect.
Okay.
Disclaimer.
Okay. I think I saw a replay somewhere.
Okay.
Because they have those in Hearthstone.
I've destroyed all my replays. See, I mean, he's running out of cards.
Look at those crackles. He's like,
He just doesn't trust the crackles anymore.
is he going to do 1 on this Echoing Ooze, or somehow it's going to bug out and do... Yeah, it's going to bug it out and do 1. Can't even use it.
Well, that Echoing Ooze ate 4 damage.
Oh, man. I love... Okay, I want to see the... It's a 7 damage Alakir if you top exits, slams it in the middle. Or, like I said, the Neptulon into 4 Bluegill. Just place it right in between the totems. Although you can only get the first one in, unfortunately.
Denies the card draw here. Ooh, gonna play the anti-heal bot just for the body here. He knows that he's not really in any threat of being bursted down, so that heal, he just needs to start trying to gain back control of the board. And Dr. Boom off the top. That might just be the nail in the coffin for Kaldi here.
Yep. 7. Okay, now.
when he doesn't even need it to roll high, it rolls high.
Super effective against
That's ridiculous.
heal bot.
Piloted Sky Golem seems like it's too little, too late.
Just reminding Kaldi what happened last time he played Sky Golem.
Yeah.
The mind control tech.
he's gonna, but yeah, he's gonna pop out the mind control tech and shaman and steal the potted Sky Golem again after this muster comes out. It looks like he's gonna save it for quartermaster play. Try and get a second quartermaster play.
I don't think there's anything. I can't. What's the best off strat? There's nothing that crazy. No. Oh, you can get Alkanai, and then you can lay on hands like the Doctor Boom.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
That's another one of the. Yeah, whenever you have your own Sky Golem, you can trade it in, and you can get something.
Yeah.
But.
All right, it's gonna crackle face. Oh no, I thought that pointed at the face. 6 damage. His crackles are good when he doesn't need him to be good, but his crackles are terrible.
Face. This game would have been over already. Not gonna do it. Crazy though, if he did have a Kaldi Consecrate, he would be back in the game.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, Gcttirth manages to find the win with his shaman.
Yeah, the Giga Champion does it again.
And he's going to move on to face Koronico in the semifinals, and unfortunately Kaldi is out of the tournament. That was an elimination match. He played pretty well. He played well enough to make it to the playoff stage, but he just couldn't make it work at the end. A lot of close series for him. He will still go home with $200 just for making it through. He did qualify through the Challenger Cup.
Yeah, you recognize the name. You're like, oh, he must have been one of the invites. No,
yeah.
He did it the hard way.
Yeah, I love when players like that qualify all the way through from the Challenger Cup or the open bracket, because it makes it proves themselves as yeah, I'm not just a player that gets invited because I always get invited. I'm a player that made it through because I earned it. So congratulations to Kaldi for making this far, but Gcttirth is going to be the one moving on to face Koronico in the semifinals. The next match that we have coming up is actually a pretty big one. It's going to be Strife Crow versus Life Coach, our 2 invited players for the weekend. They both did lose 1 match yesterday, so this is an elimination match. So one of those players will be being knocked out of the tournament after this next one. They're both currently ranked number 1 and number 2 in the world.
Probably will be
number 1. So there's a lot of stakes on the line for this next tournament. But before we go on a break, we actually have a puzzle for you guys. Our good friend Freshka, who's known for playing some pretty crazy